Good morning, YouTube. This is going to be definitely a good video for my beginners, late beginners, early intermediates. As the title suggests, this is Mike in Detroit. As the title suggests, you can do it. You can play at your church. If that's your desire, that's your calling, you can do it. Now, if you walk in your church and there's 4,000 people in there, this video is not for you. That's those professional musicians that do that for a living. I'm talking about little churches, little choirs. They need a musician. Maybe it's a certain ministry. But you say I can't do it because I'm a beginner. I've only been doing this a few months. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now, I'm going to plug some of my other videos, and then I'm going to tell you about a website I bumped into that could help you. I have a whole series that I'm working on to take you from scratch all the way up through intermediate. There's nothing advanced in this channel. Now, unfortunately, I'm not a professional YouTuber, so my channel is hopscotch. It's got all kind of stuff on there. It's got guitar stuff, all kind of stuff, camping stuff. But can't beat the price. So one method is to continue to go through those videos and then drop me a question if you need to. I want to give a shout out. He doesn't even know I'm on. I saw this website. It's called Play by Hear, Hear. I think the guy's name is Carl, and I think it's playbyhear.com. And he also has some good resources for beginners and intermediates, which is where we live. It is a myth that you gotta be flashy professional to get in the game. That's a myth. That's a myth. So we're gonna walk through some things you're gonna encounter, and I'm gonna give you some not only piano advice, some I'm your therapist for today. The first thing to do is get outside yourself. Don't worry about how good you are. Worry about serving. Right? If you've done your practice, if you've done your work, you can get in the game. And again, we're going to try to make some simple things sound pretty good. In other words, you're going to be tricking some people. So people are going to say, well, wow, you played that really good. And when you really unpack it, it's not that hard. So the first thing is people tell you to play in 12 keys. If you're a beginner or intermediate, please ignore that advice. You're advanced, getting more advanced, or you're upper intermediate, yeah, that's a good idea. Play in all 12 keys. That's a goal you should have. But you don't need to play in 12 keys to get in the game. I would suggest if you're in most churches, most like Baptist churches or Pentecostal churches or things like that, you want to be familiar with A flat and D flat. I won't go through some of the things because you can, as I said, you can go through some of my other videos and you'll get techniques on number system, on note names, that kind of thing. Now, let's take the key of D flat. So here's your D flat triad. Here it is in second inversion. Now the first thing we want to do is know something about the 1 to 4 progression with a pedal point. 1-4 progression with a pedal point. Pedal point means the bass note's not changing. Bass note's hanging out down there. can play that in any version I want. So my bass is droning on. That time I played it in root position. I can play it here too. Okay, so that's a one. Now where would I use that? Where would I use that? Do it in A flat as well. A flat is one. What's the 4 chord in A flat? D flat is. Droning on the bass now. So I could use that in lots of places. Sometimes you'll hear it in a song too. Let me see. Lord, I love you. All that is a 1 to 4 with a pedal point. Say, what was all that? No, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. So take on this task a piece at a time. Now that one. So let's go back to D flat. Okay. Okay, you can use that, when people are coming in or they're just milling around. Service hasn't really gotten going yet. It's a small church. They don't have any tracks. What do you do? Okay, so that's point number 1. Find a little progression and then loop it. Now, how do you make it sound? How do you make a beginner sound good? Trick, arpeggios. Here's my notes in my right hand, right? That's the notes I have available. So an arpeggio just means one note at a time. So you want to work that up to now when you go to your 4 chord, which is G flat, people are going to say, wow, that person is pretty good. Now when you're working on arpeggios in your practice room, you want to get them pretty clean. So the way you do that is you start slow. Accuracy is way more important than speed. Get your fingering however you're going to do it. I just said accuracy is more important than speed, then I messed up. So. And then work it up to some speed. I did some different notes there. The reason we like D flat is because in the D flat scale, all the black notes are available to us, and the black notes set up a natural pentatonic scale, which means all those notes are going to sound good. So another little sneaky little trick is you can drone on a D flat down here, right? And you can play any old black note you want. A little improvising. Maybe somebody is talking, or maybe somebody's reading the announcements, or and maybe you change a little bit from piano and you put a little pad under you and you go something like a, nope, I didn't mean to do that. that is well within your grasp as a late beginner or early intermediate. So all I'm doing is playing my bass notes is drone and pedal point. Sometimes I'll double it for a that rumbling, rolling, thunderous effect. In my right hand, the only thing I'm thinking about is any black note is available to me. Okay? Now, so that 4-to-1 progression should be at your disposal in a couple of keys. I suggest C, A flat, and D flat. Sometimes G. Sometimes G is a good one. But work your way up. The other little piece of advice, well, I'm going to have lots of pieces of advices, is that even though you're sitting in church, you're still a student, you're still learning. So you're growing as a musician. But that experience is going to be really good for you. Get in the game. Find a place to get in. Maybe it's the children's choir or something. Now, let's move on that there are songs you need to play. As a beginner or intermediate, you're going to have to take control of the songs because you don't want to be playing, you don't want them to be calling songs that you don't know how to play. It's over your head, in other words. So get with the choir director or the pastor, whoever helps you pick the songs, and make sure those songs are within your grasp. And I am thinking about that. I'm thinking about putting some song analysis here that are easy. There are a ton of them. Let's take the song Waymaker. So that's, we're going to violate because that's in the key of E. It's only got a few chords. That's it. That's it. So we got an E chord. Now, I could be playing this E chord a lot of ways, but I chose to play it simple. That's a straight up E chord in root position to the B. I worship you. F sharp, major chord, and then we're going to go to an A flat minor. Inversions are a beautiful thing, but inversions are within the realm of intermediate, especially triad inversions. Nothing fancy about inversions. So this last time we played You Are Here. See, did you hear those arpeggios I did? In other words, the more arpeggios I can play, the more I can, what I call, make melodies out of it. This time I'm playing A flat minor in first inversion. I can play it here. So, what I said earlier about arpeggiating. See how much richer it gets if you can add those arpeggios. Now, careful, too much of anything is a bad thing. So let's go back to that song again, and now it's somebody talking. Now you really don't want that many arpeggios, you just get softer. Like that. There are a lot of songs like that. again, I'm gonna work on that. So stay tuned. Subscribe and stay tuned. For you beginners, I'm gonna put 8 or 9 songs up that are pretty easy. Pretty easy if you know your triads or you know a couple of keys, you can make them work. But the point here is you got to get in control of the songs because you don't want to be in a situation where they call it a song and it's modulating and it's in 15 keys and you say, oh my goodness, I'm lost here. You don't want that. You want to stay in control and not get above you, not get out over your skis, but you can be in the game. You have to be a little bit bold that says, I'm sorry sir, I can't play that, but I can play this. Maybe you can so stay in the area that you can play, and then in your practice time throughout the week, be working on growth, be working on improvement. Now, anybody that knows me knows I am a great lover of the ballads, great lover of slow songs, worship songs. Oh my goodness, they just do something to me. But in a lot of churches, you want to, a fast song is going to come up, or and this is going to challenge the beginner intermediate because. Let's see, you might want to be. Something like that is going to come up, and the rhythm itself is going to challenge you. Let's go to A flat. Let's go to. Now we got our mind over in A flat. So let's go. Okay, so maybe that's a bounce, that's a groove. That's if you can hear the drummer, boom, da, 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 da. So that's a bounce kind of song. Now, how do I get that? Because you hear that a lot of times at church. Sometimes you're here during offering, but you want to have something like that in your pocket for when it starts bouncing a little bit. Okay, so I could have gone the other way. So we started on the A flat. My right hand, and we're dropping. Our target is the 6. We're going from 1 to 6. 1. So left hand's going back up. 1 7 6 7 1 7 6. Now the chords are. It's like a G minor chord. Here we got this. So another great trick, and we've talked about this in other videos, but I need to talk about it more, is to you can look at this chord as a C minor over A flat. Think in polychords. Then you can think of this chord as B flat major over G. And you can think of this chord as A flat major over F. So you are separating your right hand from your left hand. Now you want to work that up to bump speed. 1 2 3 4. Work on that. That is within your grasp as a beginner or intermediate. I wouldn't overanalyze analyze it too much. Maybe you can't play that in 12 keys. Maybe you don't know why it works, but it works. So just learn it. When you start getting upper, intermediate, and advanced, then figure it out. But at least you get in the game. So that's kind of a bump kind of thing, you know. When you got your drummer going, the bass player going, and now on the piano, you see, still have my. Oops, I got my pedal was running away from me. I still have my pad on. Here's what it sounds like without the pad. Okay, we're gonna. That sounds good too. But I like it with a little bit of pad under it. Not too much pedal. Because this is a punch sound. Bop, 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 bop. People want to clap their hands, bop, bop, bop. So you got something that you can pull out. Maybe you came up with another one. That 2 or 3 things you got in your hip pocket that you can pull out. There's another one. There's those arpeggios again. They just are magic, 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 magic. Now, okay, a lot of conversation in the piano world and the gospel training world about talk music. Somebody's talking. What do you do? What do you do? You want to let's do D flat again. Here's where your ears need to really listen. What are they talking about? Are they talking about something happy or triumphant or uplifting? Then you want to be thinking major chords, like 1 chord. Here's that 1-4 again. Now I'm thinking 1 chord. See, there's that D flat. Now I'm thinking 4 chord. That's very simple. I think the trick to talk music is to get soft and take the rhythm kind of away. Hold chords as long as you want. Man, I can stay on the 1 chord as long as I want. It's talk music. I stay here. But the trick to talk music is to listen and maybe transition when the speaker is transitioning, you know, to kind of to sink in with the speaker and get it in the background. Speaker changes to a different cadence. You can hear that. Now, let's say it's something sad. Well, what's the sad chords in D flat? Well, minor chords are. So what's the minor chords in that key? Well, it's 2 chord is. Just changed the mood, didn't I? 3 chord is. That's an F minor chord. That's the 3 chord. 2 chord is here. And I'm keeping it simple. I know the advanced players are bored to tears right now, but the whole purpose of this video, and it's getting a little long, so I'm going to better move on, is that with simple concepts you can get in the game. The 6th chord is also minor in the key of D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have this. flat minor, NEO inversion. That 3 to 6 combination, just like 1 to 4, 3 to 6 is another thing that likes to join up. So the 3 chord is F minor. It's a circle progression. Oh, did you hear those arpeggios? That's a good transition chord. You can do that with talk music as well. Another thing you can do with talk music is trick people with songs you know. Let's go to D flat. And let's pick a familiar hymn. Okay, so that's a 5-1 progression. So so that's the 5 chord A flat. Stay on the 5 chord. So we can take a piece of that song and leave the melody off and trick people, right? So you hear me when I went 1, 2, 3. So I can make talk music out of that. I can go change the rhythm, trick people, don't let them hear the song. I just did. I took that 1, 2, 3, eliminated the rhythm, make sure the melody is nowhere around, and I took a fragment of a song that I know how to play, and I made some talk music out of it. So here's 1. Now I'm going to go to the 2. Lots of arpeggios. I'm going to go to the 3. I can go back to the 2. I can just mess around. One of the things this is a personal opinion, I think people are way too flashy in church. In the club, sure, but in a jazz club or at the Smooth Jazz Festival, sure, but in church, it's not about you. I've said this many times before. As a beginner or like an intermediate player, I want you to be bold and confident, but I want you to be humble too. This is not a time to show off. So enough on that. Okay. So we got through intro, we played a few songs, we got a groove, we got a little talk music. Now, depending on what kind of church you're in, you might get to people in the spirit, right? They're in the spirit. So a couple things that's pretty easy to do. You can play this. So we're back in the key of A flat, the anthem key in a lot of churches. So we're going to play an F sharp major chord, that chord in our right hand, and then we're going to go over A flat. We're going to bang on those A flats, whatever key you're in, we're in A flat. So we're going to bang it up here. Right? We're going to do that, and then we're going to do the only difference is this D flat is going to C, right? Got that? All over A flat. Now, if you got a bass player, that's great. If you don't, here's the thing you got to practice. Let's slow that down. Ba, 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 ba. Watch my fingering too. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, sorry. I don't have that camera on. So we got A flat. I play that with my index finger, pinky, forefinger, slide. So I'm still on my forefinger, thumb, first finger. So practice that. So first get it slow. Now, same chords. So when you get to the E flat, so let's do that again slow. Okay, so work that. So here's the notes, and I always do this. I'm sorry, I always do this. Okay, so I'll do something for 2 minutes that you got to practice for 2 hours, you know. So let me slow down so you get the notes. This is where shift that D flat went to C. And work it up. So that's something that, at least if you're in the intermediate, you can do something you can work on. That kind of thing. You hear that all the time in church. The other thing that you can do is, here's another one for you. So we're going to play these chords right here. We're going to play this. So freeze this, write this down, right? So the left hand is going to go bum, right? Bum, 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 right? So here's the chords for that. C, E flat, F sharp, A flat. Now we're going to go here. E, F, A flat. Now the right hand is going to stay the same. It's a diminished chord, by the way, but who cares? Just learn it. Learn it. Now when we get to E flat, we're going to end up where we started from. Okay, let's do that again. So we're going to go, right? Got it? Now I'm playing this bass with one finger. You can certainly do this. But to learn it, just figure out the right hand. But the bass is easy. Now you're going to go to D, and the right hand's not going to move at all. Right? Now we're going to end up where we started from. Okay, got that? Now, that can be used in a lot of places. That can be used in praise. It can be used backing up a preacher. It could be used as a preacher saying, "Didn't you know that? Didn't you know that? Yeah, 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 yeah. I know that. Oh, I got carried away. So those four chords are useful to you because you can now you can combine it with what I showed you earlier. So let's say we got here, then we got this. And we got this, and we got this. Got this. So, not too tough. Couple of things you got in your pocket so that when it gets bumping, now you want to work these things up to a little bit of speed. Not terrible, but probably the hardest thing I gave you was this. That does take a little bit of practice. All right, so now we're at altar call, or sermon's over, or it's wind down time, or it's whatever, however your church program rolls. Okay, so if I were you, I would learn 10 or 12 hymns. I just played one. Could be What a Friend, could be Old Rugged Cross, could be, I mean, these are familiar old school hymns, but they really derive some good melody out of them. Now, I played this D flat major chord like this. You don't have to do that. Let's get it back to beginner. There it is, beginner. That's just D flat. See, you notice that's another trick. I'm thinking and playing at the same time. You notice I have this D flat chord in first inversion, right? But when I came down on the melody, I maintain that F, right? That F right there. Watch this. See that? I maintain that. Now I need an A flat 7 chord. So there. Now I got an A flat still. Now this time I'm going to do beginner. Now most songs end with a 2-5-1. That's a voicing that I use just to go to. But I didn't have to do that. I could have just did beginner. I just instinctively went to this. But, okay, so how did I come up with this way? I want the 2 chord. It's a minor chord. All I gotta do is take this 2 chord, go down a whole step and play a triad. So I got my bass is the chord I want, right? But I'm thinking minor. Look how good that sounds. Just as simple as 2 bass notes and a triad. Here's the triad I want. Went down a whole step, played a triad. Arpeggios are your friend. 4-1 again. Okay, a few more little tips for you, and we're going to get in. Maybe we'll make this a little series. You know, beginners, intermediate. You can do it. You can play in church. You can get in the game. If you mess up, you mess up. You know what? I think God will cover you. In the key of D flat, here's the 1 chord, or this. Or this. I'm a big, I prefer second inversion. But here it is in first inversion. Here's a 3 chord. That's an F minor. 1, da, da. Okay, here's the 4 chord. You can play it this way or this way. This is more beginner. This is a little bit more advanced. Very close to sound. So you pick. You're a beginner, play it this way. If you're a little bit more advanced, play it this way. Look at me just maintaining that D flat on top. So let's go back here. We go. Alright, so now we have a 5 chord. Now we got this. Or this. So here's another one where you can cheat. I got A flat, I go down a whole step and play a triad. I can cheat. So I had a 1 chord. Oops, sorry. Let's do that again. You would be amazed how many songs you can play with those chords. You can use that for talk music. You can bump it. You can make a groove out of it. Depends on the rhythm. But a lot of songs are rinse, repeat chord progressions. Rinse, rinse, repeat. So, let me see. I need you. You need me. We're on. Lots of songs. Will borrow those progressions. Either they will borrow those progressions. We call those scale wires progressions. To the 3. Oh, here's a 3. And here's the 4. So I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on making some beginner songs and put them up here on the channel. So they're arranged in beginner, intermediate level, and they're songs that you can play. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, parting words. If you're in the beginner, I mean not raw beginner, but you're in the upper beginner, lower intermediate, and this is what this channel is all about. Don't get too flashy, but I want you to get some confidence that you can get in the game. You can play at your church on Sunday and come out just fine. So I took you through some entry things, some talk music things, some song things, a couple of grooves, some praise stuff, some altar call stuff, and then some, okay, so you can't play in 12 keys. Okay, you can't modulate. Okay, you don't know sophisticated chord voicings. But that doesn't mean you're out of the game. You can play for your church now. Usually it's a small church, but that's okay. And it will be to his glory, not to your glory. Remember that. Remember that. Mike in Detroit, checking out. Talk to you guys soon. See ya. Take care. Bye bye.